How many of you all were excited about your first flight journey? Can I have a raise my hand? Okay, even I was excited and nervous at the same time. Good evening, Toastmasters, and yes.
Good evening.
So it was the 21st of July 2017. I had my first flight to Ho Chi Minh City. I'll tell you how exactly I felt. I felt like a cricketer making his international debut without playing a single domestic match. So I was excited about the journey and not the destination as much. I got a little nervous before I got onto the plane because I had thoughts like, oh my god, if this plane crashes, what's going to happen to you? Am I going to die for my first flight? All this started clouding my mind up. Eventually I got into the plane and all this just flew away. And I was chill about it. But there was nothing worth talking about the flight at all. It was boring because I was surrounded by old people. I was sitting in the middle seat, in the middle row. It was sad. No offense, Mr. Melvin. Just old. But I expected a lot of beautiful girls to be around me. Then I realized it happens only in movies. It doesn't happen in real life. Every cloud has a silver lining. That's what happened in my case also. The silver lining in my cloud was that the air hostesses. They were much better than the Kingfisher air hostesses, Mr. Melvin. So eventually we reached Bangkok to change over to the connecting flight to Ho Chi Minh City. The Bangkok airport was huge. It had a bus from the plane to the airport. And I thought the Bangalore airport was big. This was a massive, it was an ocean to least to say. When I entered the airport, I saw one thing. I noticed one thing. It was beaming with Indian uncles. They were everywhere. They were dressed in like multicolored clothes. They wore shorts. They must have been there in one of their business trips in Bangkok. Doing businesses, of course. And after that, what I realized was one thing they all had in common. They were scurrying around like headless chickens. They were wandering like lost men somewhere, nomads. They were very nervous about something. They were very panicky, just like my dad. They were looking for their terminals. So this one uncle even bumped into me and he asked, where is terminal number 6? Is it somewhere close? I looked up and we are actually at terminal number 6. I'm like, uncle, we are actually at terminal number 6. Yes, that's what the number says. And then he went away in dismay. I was very unhappy about this, but I had to make a move and I went to my terminal. I finished all the checking in processes and all that. I went to my terminal. After that, I went to the washroom. There was this interesting incident which happened there. I was standing in the queue. There was this Indian uncle, there was this Chinese uncle, and there was this white uncle. When the Indian uncle entered the washroom, I heard a trumpet-like sound. It was like... It was more magical, musical, I would say. You guessed it right, it was a fart. Without the odor. It's like fart minus odor. It was pleasant. So when these uncles went one by one, they had various sounds. It was like they were talented or something. They made music through their farts. When I went inside the washroom, I saw toilet paper. The first time I've seen toilet paper in my life actually, in a bathroom. And there was no bum gun. Like the bum gun was not there. It's like a mandatory thing to be in a bathroom. And I almost started crying. And I finished my rituals. I had to leave immediately because my connecting flight was almost immediately. So I went to my flight. And there, I was really excited because 90% of the flight was beautiful women. And I went and took my seat. And then there was a really nice looking girl came and sat next to me. I was like, yo, this is really happening, man, yay. And she spoke to me and she was Elizabeth from England. She had this fancy British accent. And I didn't act, I acted very cool and all, but I was not cool about it, I was very excited. So I realized one thing when I spoke to her. When you're talking with a woman who's like a beauty with brains, time flies. That 1 hour I spent with her, it flew away like 10 seconds. I was sad when that happened. I was really sad. But then I realized we reached Ho Chi Minh City. And I was there in one piece. I didn't die like I thought I was going to die. And I was like, yay! I am alive. The Toastmasters and guests. One thing I learned from that journey was, the journey may be as beautiful as the destination itself. So we must, and I repeat, we must learn to enjoy the journey. Over to you, Toastmaster.